Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. The whole purpose of this slideshow today is to try to review and recap some 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th grade standards. Knowing parts of speech is something that kids usually learn when they're young and forget when they're older. You will not have quiz after quiz over these parts of speech. You will have a quick check on Friday. So studying or doing the flex work will help you for Friday's quick check. The reason why this is something that's important for me to start with is on Monday we're going to have a Lego activity where we're going to be building some sentence structures. And in that activity, you do have to know conjunctions, nouns, verbs. And the rest is for description. If you turn in a paper to me and I circle a word and I say, use a better adjective, and you're like, what? It's an adjective. Judging from our pre-test scores, I believe this class is 28%. You just need a refresher or recap over what some of these are. There's 8 main parts of speech, and those are the easy ones that are going to come across. And then a couple of the things in my slideshow that I moved past are from Monday's Lego lecture. They take it one more step. I'm not going to try to teach you anything complicated without something that's hands-on that you can actually manipulate a little bit to help you understand the structure. So that's more of a next week goal. Let's go ahead and get started. Now, you're going to have blanks. I think there's one for each slide, something small, a few words to put in so that you have something to do during this time. So let's go. Mrs. Rittenauer wants you to know what a noun is, especially in Spanish and English and how they are organized. A noun is a person, place, or a thing. Person, place, or thing. Nouns are key components of sentences, and you're kind of limited to how many you can actually use and how you can use them. But you can check out this list of examples: person, places, things, or ideas. In the post-test, a kid had labeled a noun wrong, and I said, listen, just ask yourself, is that a thing that I need to worry about? Is that a thing that happens? Is that a thing that exists? If the answer is yes, then it's a noun. Because even unhappiness is a thing that I have to deal with sometimes. And it's a thing as well. So just ask yourself, is it a thing that I could have trouble with, that could exist? And you'll know it's a noun. We're going to be talking next week during our Lego activity about the key parts of how to build sentences. Sentences have subjects, and a subject is what does the action. So on your pre-test yesterday, I was just asking you, can you pick out of a sentence what it is that does the action, that is the guiding component? The subject's usually the most important thing other than what happens in the verb. So the subject is what does the action. So make sure you grab that into your notes. In these example sentences, it just points out that dog is a noun, dog's a thing, and in this sentence, it's doing the action. My dog ate. Who ate? The dang dog. My dog eats litter box, so that's disgusting. And then he tries to kiss us. Because he's a sick dog. Pronouns. Pronouns, it's the least important for me out of all of this list, but sometimes if you want to know if something's a noun or a pronoun, pronouns take the place of nouns. So let's say you're writing a paper about your mom, and your mom's name is Susan. And so you're like, my mother, she's awesome. She does so many things for me. She irons my clothes, etc. She does laundry. She gives me money. Every time you say she, it's a pronoun because you already specified it was your mother, that it was Susan. You're just renaming it along the way. So pronouns function is to take the place of a noun. You can replace it with words like it, their, them, and then you have a bigger list here. That's not all of them, but those are the main kind of pronouns that you're going to see. They're really generic. You can't tell exactly what it is. If I said he was there, you have no visual picture of who it was. Could have been Wooly. So function of pronouns, just stand in place of those nouns. Now we're getting to what really matters, which is verbing. When you go to build sentences, you're actually limited to how much you can have. There's only 4 kinds of sentences in the English language that actually function, that they want you to be able to compose as an English student. So the good news is there's only 4. Okay, that's it. And as we go next week, we need to be able to recognize verbs to understand the 4. Some verbs are real easy because it's something you do. Nickelodeon used to have a commercial that said verb. It's what you do. They were trying to get kids to stop watching SpongeBob and get kids moving, so they had the verb campaign. So verbs, pretty straightforward, pretty simple when it comes to action. The only kind of verbs high school students typically struggle with are linking verbs. We will repeat the phrase, am, is, are, was, were. Am, is, are, was, were. If you want to know if it's a verb, those are all verbs. Am, is, are, was, were. Those are the most common that we use that aren't action. Am, is, are, was, were. Even Mrs. Uhrig next year is going to throw down the word fanboys with you because we're English teachers and we're dorks and we like abbreviations. Conjunctions connect words or ideas. Whenever you go to write your own sentences and you want to join two sentences together, join two ideas together, you got to use one of those fanboys, for and nor, but, or, yet. So those are also legal ways to join sentences. So conjunctions, join them. And then this is one that I'm skipping because that's for Monday. You shouldn't have any blanks on that one anyway. You can check. Do you guys have any blanks? You shouldn't. We'll talk more about how conjunctions can make complicated Lego pieces on Monday. Adjectives. You got to describe things. I gave 6th and 8th period a task. I asked them to write me 3 sentences. Someone brought me back a blank paper and said I couldn't think of anything to write in 3 sentences. And I gave them a topic. And I was like, okay. So I looked through all of them and I tried to use them for some of my classwork this week because I'm using them for instruction this week. And not a single person used an adjective. None. No one was focused on any kind of descriptive writing. Adjectives describe nouns. They allow us to see what's real in the world. We can see the girl is young. We know how that meeting felt. And we know what your notebook looks like. Adjectives describe. Usually they describe which one, what kind, how many, all the colors in the world, the sound description, sight, smells, touch, taste, feelings, typically are all adjectives that help describe. And we're almost there, guys. Adverbs. Not many students I have in the past have written with adverbs. It's almost like the missing link to having good dynamic writing. Adverbs are going to tell us something about a verb. That's why they call them adding to the verb. Where, when, how, get those adverbs. Okay. So if you look at these sentences, the adverbs are written in capital letters and they end in ly often, but it's going to provide something dynamic to the sentence. The baby slept doesn't really do much. It's a pretty bland, straightforward sentence. The more adverbs and adjectives you add in makes something be able to be seen in your head. So the baby slept quietly, quickly, deftly. All movement is described with adjectives. So if you were going to write anything that had anything to do with like sports, movement, a fight, adverbs are going to allow us to be able to read it and understand how it actually happened because it's describing action. We've got 2 more. Prepositions. Mrs. Rittenauer says that in Spanish you have to learn about like the object of the preposition. You have to learn about where prepositions go in the Spanish language, and she always has kids that don't know what they are. They're all about relationships. If I draw a circle with my hand, anything in relationship to that circle is a preposition. Above, below, left, right, up, down, through, between, across. All position words. Prepositional phrases are just a little bit longer. They start with those directional words and provide more description from, you can see all the position words, during, along, on, after. Oftentimes I'll ask kids to put prepositions at the beginning or ends of their sentences. If your sentence is real small and choppy, I'll say, put a prepositional phrase at the beginning. Put it at the end. You want to make sure that you have something more than the bare bones of a skeleton in your writing. And then this is still something for my Lego activity, so I'm going to move past it for right now. Last one, stupid one, easy one for a quiz. I have to do it. I can't just pretend it's not a part of speech. And it's interjections. Like all swear words are usually used as interjections in the English language, like crap. Obviously, that's a gentle one. You have your own mind to think about that. So these are just things that can stand alone, like yes, no. They're usually one word But I guess shut up is an interjection too, as well. So these show intense feelings. They're usually at the beginning of sentences, like, ouch, the bee stung me. They can also stand by themselves. Like if you just wanted to say, do I love Justin Bieber? No. And the interjections, no. It could be all by itself. No. It's big enough. My hatred for him is big enough to be its own sentence. Okay. And then we don't need any more.